Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the start of a new series here on the channel that we're calling Beyond Pandora, which will be always me collaborating with Navi by Heart. So, welcome to Navi by Heart.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're just always going to take some topics that we see out there on the internet, social media, kind of give our thoughts on them, and we'll kind of go from there. So yeah, it's a new series, and hopefully you tune in and you enjoy it. So this is the first one. We're going to touch on those recent, comments that people have made a big deal about from James Cameron. Will he, won't he, direct the 4 and 5? Our predictions for D23, which is just this upcoming weekend, and touch a little bit on Avatar Day at the end, reminding you guys about that as well. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, how you doing, Navi by Heart?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing good. How are you? It's a little bit hot in Germany, but I guess so it is in Arizona.
Yeah, so we're both kind of like in desert region climates at the moment. But yeah, let's let's get started here with our boy Jimmy C again. With quotes, always with quotes the last couple of years with this guy, where everybody's just freaking out. But let's read them, and then you and I will give our opinions and see what we think. So he was interviewed. It's from a video, so people kind of extrapolated the quotes. But he's basically asked, what he thinks his next projects are going to be. Is it going to be Avatar or something else? And he says that's the question of the hour for me. There's been momentum in the Avatar universe for 21 years at this point because we started in 2005. I took a little time off to build a submersible and dive to the deepest spot on the planet, as you do, but I came back to Avatar after that, and it's been kind of an unbroken continuum. So, this is the point where I'm looking at the landscape and asking, what are the other stories I want to tell? How many of them do I need to direct myself versus writing and or producing with other filmmakers? And then he continues the criterion. I've literally mapped this out for myself over the last 2 weeks. I started with what will do the most good. I put that in block letters at the top. And I started looking at all the projects I'm most fond of, asking, how's this going to improve our condition? How's that going to make the world better for our kids? I haven't made those decisions yet. I'm still in this liminal state of mapping out the last act, if you will. And I don't know if that last act will last a year or 20 years. So there we go. That's the most recent quotes from James Cameron when it comes to what are you doing next, which I feel has
hmm
been the question everybody's asked him the entire press tour of Fire and Ash.
He probably got so exhausted. He's like, ask me something else.
um but yeah, I mean, even touching on other quotes from the past, I mean, he's described like when they've asked him, okay, 4 and 5, he's like, please, it's like I just got out of jail, don't. I'm not even thinking about going back. Obviously, that's not something as Avatar fans we want to hear.
No.
And even as recent as this past May, saying that that if he's gonna make them, he needs to make them, uh, like more cost effective, so cheaper, so at 2/3 of the cost, and that they need to take half the time, so that just working out how this can work will take a year of time in itself to work that out. So I think regardless, it's safe to say that we are not seeing Avatar 4 in 2029. I
Mm.
think that's baseline what all fans I think should agree on. There's not going to be an Avatar 4 in 2029. Um but what do you think about his most recent quotes right here? Like, we'll start with you. Like, do you see this as just doom and gloom, like a lot of people made it out over the past few days? Like that he's already basically confirming he's moving on from Avatar, or what do you take from this?
I mean, when I heard it for the first time, I was like, oh no, we're done. We're cooked. This is it. We're probably gonna get, what did he say? Like a novel about what's gonna happen if he won't make the movies? I'm like, no, I
Yeah,
don't want a novel. I want this on the big screen, full visuals, like just the way Avatar is supposed to be. And I don't know, like already during the press tour of Fire and Ash, I was like, he doesn't sound too excited about it anymore. And I wonder if he kind of maybe has lost the spark for it, not because he truly lost the spark, but because the circumstances made him lose something, because he basically can't do it probably the way he wants them to do. Maybe he has to introduce some sort of AI, not saying it's going to be generative AI, but maybe, all the things he doesn't like. And maybe that's something where he's like, you know what, let me step back. I hope he's not going to completely run away from it, but I could see him, yeah, still being involved, but maybe not as into it, like 100% time consuming as he was now.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you, and it's pretty much been a journey because the Cameron from the press tour of Way of Water sounded so excited about finally being in to show us what they've been working on already for years at that point.
Yeah.
Uh,
That he
and
could continue making those movies forever and ever.
exactly, and that anything he would want to say in movies, he
Hmm.
could say through the Avatar films. And now you come to it started with the press tour of Fire and Ash, and I guess it's carrying on over until even now in 2026. His demeanor has changed. Now it's like, now there are other things he wants to say in films, and now it seems like he does need other films to say those things. He does want to explore other things, and it makes sense. Like he says, he's been in almost a continuous loop of Avatar for 21 years. I think that's a long time for anybody, to be in one kind of boxed in one little sandbox. Um,
The only thing I'm wondering, though, now that you mention that there is maybe stuff he can tell through the Avatar movies, like the most recent interview, or one of the most recent ones, of Sam Worthington, when he was talking about the script of Avatar 4, and he was like, that's so unlike Avatar. Like, he loves it the most because it's so different. So maybe we're also just interpreting it the wrong way. And he doesn't mean like, oh, he's mapping out the last act of his career in terms of, oh, I got to step away from Avatar, although he made some comments about it. But maybe it's also more like changing the direction of the franchise, if that makes sense.
I mean, maybe. I mean, obviously he has said that 4 and 5, that 4 takes a turn, and it doesn't go where we think it's gonna go, so that inherently 4 and 5 pretty much go in a direction that I guess us fans wouldn't have seen coming. So I do want to see them for that reason, because it's like, and he keeps talking
Hmm.
about that with 4. Disney gave no notes. They just said, like, 2 words, and it was
Oh
like
yeah,
two cuss words, like holy shit, or just something like that, whatever.
yeah, I remember.
But anyways, I think right now, if you were to really ask me, do you really think he's still gonna do them? I would say currently yes, but I'm at the point where I'm starting to doubt it, or where I would believe that he himself is maybe starting to explore other options of either handing um the actual directing to somebody else, or
Hmm.
at least, like how he has said in recent statements, not feeling like he needs to be involved for every little thing. He's already really been there for, like, the scripting phase. The scripts are already written. The design work has already been, pretty much completed. I mean, I'm sure maybe there's some more designing to fine tune it, but I think the overall visual language has been established. They know what these movies should be. It's just kind of basically executing on the blueprints that he made. He can still maybe direct them, but then maybe step away and go do something else while he leaves this team that he's built around the Avatar movies, like, trust them to complete the post-production process, and maybe he just needs to approve a thing here and there, but not really feel like his every day-to-day life needs to be involved in the movies. Maybe he needs to finally step away after directing. So I could see it both ways. Either he can completely hand off the reins to somebody else that is, as you said, because he just doesn't really sound as enthusiastic as I would want.
Hmm.
Uh, but maybe he figures out a way where, like, hey, I could still direct them, but maybe during the other times where I would have still been involved, like, heavily with post production or whatever, maybe I could slip out for a little bit, shoot a little a way smaller movie that would only take maybe a couple months to shoot, and then be able to come back and approve the final edits and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like going somewhere every now and then, just like a little vacation. Maybe we
Exactly.
have to
Just
consider it that way.
for us, we go to Pandora to escape our lives. He needs to escape from Pandora because that's what he's apparently now living and breathing for 21 years, and he's like, that's jail.
Yeah, and I mean, even his wife was like, "Hey, I just got him back." So I'm like, "Oh, I'm not too sure about that." But yeah, like you were saying, and now that you mentioned it, because I was thinking, like you said, is he either gonna stop directing the movies, but is still involved in like the post production, or is it gonna be more the other way around? And I think the other way around would make more sense. So he has a say in how the movie's actually gonna like start off, like he's directing the scenes, he's there
Yeah.
for the core, and then as you were putting it, like trusting his team so much. I mean, some of them, like remember when we went to the panel and there was Dylan Cole and Ben Proctor, some of those, they have been on the sequels forever, like from the very beginning. And
Yeah.
so I'm sure he can trust them to know what they're doing. And even was it Fausto Di Martini who said he came up with the truck that Ardmore's driving, and
Hmm.
he showed it to James Cameron. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome. I like it." So it's not like he has to exactly tell them what he wants sometimes, but they also come up with stuff and he likes it. So maybe he can already trust the team enough to know, you know what? Let me just build the core and you're going to do whatever you want to do cuz you're going to make it great.
Exactly. Because I would say if we're talking about a situation where there was no scripts, they would still would be designing everything from scratch. Then I would say, okay, at that point, just either you're gonna do it or you're gonna hand it off. But because so much of the groundwork has already been laid, he can do that. Where it's like he already put in the years to make sure the story was what he wanted to say. The visual language is what he wants it to look like. It's just kind of executing. So he can film it and go off, and they still know they have all the blueprints of what they should stick to, and he would still have final approval. He can go film something for a couple months, he can come back and still make sure that everything that does make the final product, he still gets final like approval.
And as we know from the panel as well, when Zachary Berger was talking about Ashley, like the night wraith of
Hmm.
Varang, when it was about just months prior to the release of the movie, they changed it from being an Ikran to like the night wraith. So, last minute, he could still do some changes. And what I think he also mentions in a lot of interviews, and also the actors do, that for him, the most important part is, the acting and being close to the actors. So I don't see him stepping away from that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. And just maybe it's because we just don't have anything concrete yet. He hasn't really like said, okay, this is what I'm doing. It leaves so much room for the fans to interpret things certain ways, and maybe this is whole we're just freaking out for nothing. We're gonna touch on it in just a second. Maybe there's already some kind of announcement at D23 that we don't even we're not even anticipating, because we're just kind of going off these comments and thinking that it's all like we're cooked.
Maybe he's doing that on purpose,
Exactly, like
to keep the narrative going.
yeah, like a purposeful like misdirect, like us thinking like, oh no, it's not gonna happen, and then look, guys, it is. And maybe it still happens under the conditions that he said. Maybe they still will need to figure out how to do them a little cheaper, maybe complete them a little faster, but they still are being done. They're still gonna be made. It's not
Yeah.
a question if because for another big reason of something that I believe is going to be shown at D23, I wouldn't see Disney investing so much in like a theme park and new lands pertaining to Avatar if you just already had made the decision that it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not their decision; it's his because they don't own it. But I don't think they would invest in new Avatar lands if they didn't know that this was going to continue at least with 4 and 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as like the news dropped for, I guess, what's our next topic?
Yeah, so I guess I think we can put a pin on that for now. Like that, I think our both of our opinions is that we still think he will do it, even if it's maybe a little less hands on. I still believe he's gonna do it, and I think the team is gonna figure out as a whole how to do them a little cheaper and a little quicker. So I think that does give him the ability to be able to do maybe a couple other projects before his filming career is
Hmm.
over.
Yeah, and as
So
long as everybody else is still involved, I think we don't really need to worry. I think we're just scared now, but actually we just got to see. I don't think this was his baby. He's not just going to drop it. I don't think so.
exactly. But yeah, let's segue into the next major topic, which is D23 itself. This is Disney's D23 event that happens every couple years. The last time this happened, it was summer of 2024, and it was the debut of the title of Avatar Fire and Ash. That's when we learned what it was going to be called, and the debut of the first concept art pieces. Varang with the that crazy necklace that we heard on the panel didn't make the cut of the movie, but could potentially appear still in the future. But where she's wearing that necklace with all kinds of severed, kudos on it.
Yeah.
Um, that one, their first couple with the Wind Traders, a night one I believe, and a daytime one.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so our first look at Fire and Ash was at the last D23, and then also our further concept art for the land that is the Avatar experience as they're calling it, that is coming to Disney California Adventure at the Disneyland Resort in California, as opposed to the one that already exists in Florida at Walt Disney World in the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Um, we got a little more concept art pieces there as well. Everything from Dylan Cole. So it was basically just a showcase of Dylan Cole for both the parks and the movies.
Yeah.
Um,
It
but yeah,
really
that's
was.
what we got. That's what we got last time. Now let's kind of put our thinking hats on and speculate. What do we think is gonna appear Avatar related at this year's D23? Before I send it off to you, the couple pieces we have as hints for now is there's a main D23 poster that has all these Disney characters and everything that you think they're going to be touching on, and there is one Ikran on it. We put it up on our socials on Instagram. We highlighted it. It is flying by one of the fireworks, so it is hinting that they are going to touch on Avatar. They also put out a new updated graph or just this chart stating what further park experiences are still coming in the future, and under California Adventure for Disneyland the Avatar experience was still shown there because there was the little thing the last couple months, because they have been so quiet, people were starting to think maybe they were getting cold feet and maybe it would be replaced by Zootopia, something like that. But no, it seems to be that they're still going ahead with the Avatar experience for California. So, what do you think are going to be your main predictions for D23 this year?
Well, mm, it's hard to say because, like you said, or like you mentioned, we already had some concept art. I expect more concept art, maybe not just even concept art, maybe even more, stuff to actually grab. Maybe we'll get like a concept build of something, or maybe they're going to announce what type of rides they would do. I mean, we saw about the boat ride and we were just speculating on how it could be because I don't think they're just going to copy paste what's already in Orlando, which was great. I loved it. I was lucky enough to be there already, but I don't think they're just going to do the same exact stuff. I know that they kind of did it with Galaxy's Edge, but I don't think they would do it with Pandora because already the land touches more on what I thought was Avatar 2, but if you really think about it, could be Avatar 2 and 3 because we're still at the same setting. We're still with the Metkayina, still with the Cove of the Ancestors. So who knows? I was expecting it's going to be the Way of Water focus, but now I'm thinking, wait, we're still kind of there and it's still part of Fire and Ash. So maybe it's just going to combine more of the two movies. And also a delay I could see now making sense if they, let's say, open the land before the movie and just like the Wind Trader's shop in Orlando, giving us more hints for the upcoming sequels, hopefully, if they're still going to be made, what we think so far.
Yeah, that's a great point. So yeah, mainly, so your takeaway is that mainly what we're gonna see Avatar related is just park stuff, right? That's gonna be the main course,
Yeah.
and maybe a sprinkle of maybe the movie stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the movie stuff is gonna be the main course. We'll be lucky to maybe see, like you said, maybe an announcement that they are gonna be made just with maybe further delay. Maybe they won't even touch on a delay, just maybe confirm that they are gonna be made. I don't think we're gonna. I think it's way too early to see any concept art for Avatar 4. So yeah, I agree. It's mainly gonna be the Avatar experience coming to California that they're gonna have a presence with. And like you said, we need to see more concept art, but also just get a better sense. I mean, if this thing is now even 2 years removed from the last time we heard about it, we need to see more models. Maybe really get a sense of what the ride system would be like. Maybe another ride. Maybe what some of the the food slash the shops could be like. And like you said, yeah, they said the land is more based on the sequels, so 2 and 3, and we're like, man, this really looks like just 2, right? But like we said, final battle really took place there at the Cove of the Ancestors, and it looks like that's kind of the centerpiece that they're using as like the main, visual for this land is like you're pretty much almost around the Cove of the Ancestors. So that's cool because it kind of apply, like you said, it applies to both movies. Yet there's gonna be hints of 4 and 5 in there, like you said, just like there was in the last land years before these came out, and we just didn't even know it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Didn't it like open in 2017 or something?
yeah, 2017, and it had hints at, the ride itself already showed you Elus, it showed you Tulkuns, it showed you the Akula that people ended up getting confused with Tulkuns because they were both big whales or whale type creatures.
Yeah, and I'm thinking now because I was writing it just like not too long ago. I'd say, well, almost a year. Wow. Anyways, but I know they had different concepts for Tulkuns. So maybe it was supposed to be a Tulkun because they had both. They had like different type of creatures and I tried to kind of figure it out, but I was so immersed by the ride. So imagine whatever they're going to do in California is just going to be an upgrade. How immersive is that going to be?
Exactly. And the rumors are that yes, it's a boat ride, but don't think of it in terms of like the Navi River journey. Like you have or both of us have kind of said, don't want to throw shade, but obviously out of the two rides in Florida, that is the least exciting ride. It is basically just a gentle boat ride. You kind of just look at the surroundings like you're in, the bioluminescent forest. You see some of the creatures, running around projected on the screens and stuff, and it's cool. And even
But I
maybe
mean,
above
yeah,
above
the
you.
animatronic
And
is
then the ending, with like
like
at that
she's worth
time,
it. Yeah.
yeah, like a next level animatronic with the shaman.
Yeah.
But don't think of this one in that way because the way they kind of describe it is that the boat ride that they showed us concept art for is pretty much going to be like the Flight of Passage, but for boat rides. And the rumor is they're going to take the ride system, and we'll probably touch on this in a further video. And obviously, if they confirm this over the weekend, then we can definitely, we're going to discuss this in a further video. But in Shanghai Disneyland, they built a brand new Pirates of the Caribbean ride that's not like any of the other ones. It uses this brand new ride system that some people are calling one of the best ride systems currently in the world. Really can make it seem like you're above water, and then you transition to different rooms, and all of a sudden it really simulates like you can go underwater, then back above water. That really makes sense for Avatar, and if you think of the Way of Water, and even the concept art they showed us. They showed us like Tulkun jumping out of the water, you're above water, but then I can imagine there's a section where you go under the water. Because I mean, how great were those scenes in the movie? You know, especially if like it lights up bioluminescence. So there's just like so many cool things they could
Yeah.
do to transition us, both above and below water. But anyways, it's supposed to be a rumored that track system, which should be really innovative, and hopefully that's the case. But I'm still hoping for another ride.
I was about to say that. I'm wondering, are they only going to do the boat ride? Not saying only, but you know what I mean? It's like, no way we will only get one ride. I mean, yeah, it's a smaller area, it's a smaller park in general, or like because it's not
Yeah,
as many parks as in Disney World, obviously. But I'm like, this is going to be, I think, another showcase of what technology can do.
yeah, and I agree with you. There has to at least be one more ride. Obviously, there's always going to be the imbalance of this one that we talked about first, the big boat ride. That's going to be what they call the e-ticket ride, the most exciting, and then you're going to have a less exciting one. Think of Galaxy's Edge. They've started to settle on lands getting two rides. You have your Rise of the Resistance, which is your e-ticket ride for Galaxy's Edge, and then you have your Smuggler's Run, which it's cool, but it's just not as intricate, and it doesn't, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think
as
Rises of the Resistance is mind-blowing the first time you do it, just like Flight of Passage, and the other one is
exactly,
really nice, but if you just had to choose one to do again, you would choose the other one.
exactly. But at least for them, it does split the crowd a little bit because you got to think if it's just one ride, that everybody's just going to be funneled to just trying to do the same thing. Yeah, you're going to have some shops and probably like a little restaurant area where you take a few people away, but I mean, I think that's why they have the system of two rides so that they can try to split the crowd at least a little bit. So
Oh yeah, I didn't even
hopefully,
think of that, you're right.
and maybe they just didn't really have it nailed yet by 2024. They really knew what the exciting ride was, but maybe they just didn't really have it nailed yet what the other one was, and maybe that's what they'll give us information on this upcoming weekend. But it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be, yeah, maybe it's not movie stuff this weekend, but I think the innovations that Disney Imagineers, like every few
Yeah.
years, they really raise the bar. I mean, think of the shaman from the not that was already a 2017, at innovation at that time. You're
Oh, and
almost
then don't forget about, sorry for interrupting you, but don't forget about all those Avatar experiences that were touring where you had like life-sized Ikran moving and stuff.
exactly. So, there are some Disney parks focused YouTube channels that have said that they've that they have talked to people that work on this stuff, and that they say like the type of stuff that they're hearing, it's gonna be pretty mind blowing if that's really what they reveal they're going for. So I mean, one thing I can think of, because I've heard of this, is that Disney was starting to work on animatronics that would go in the water, that would
Mm.
swim in the water.
Oh, I heard about that too. I remember. Didn't they have like what looked like little elu and stuff? Or what
Yes.
we thought could be?
Yeah, obviously it wasn't the proper size of an elu, but it
Yeah.
looked like that prototype shape. It looked like the shape of an elu.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so maybe the land could potentially feature, what if there's just, maybe it's not, it could be part of a ride, but what if it's part of just walking around and you look at a body of water and you can really see like animatronic, creatures from Pandora swimming in there, elus or whatever, the otters, the
Yeah.
Pandoran otters.
And that's, I mean, they're on the concept art now that you say it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, honestly, I think I told you this. That's what kind of was missing for me in Pandora or on Pandora. I mean, in Disney World, because like in Galaxy's Edge, you have the characters walking around. I know, Navi with the size and everything, but it kind of was like maybe put a creature here and there. I know you had the sounds and everything, and I mean the whole place looks stunning, but for some reason I was like, wow, imagine they would have some animatronics out there or some statues or figures.
Yeah, I really think it was that an opportunity they could have just knocked out of the park. I mean, because that one is in a park called Animal Kingdom, yet
Yeah.
you had no animals. Like no,
Yep.
you had no creatures from Pandora around the land. Like yeah, they were in the rides, but you like you said, you want to just be able to still walk around, and maybe they don't really have to move, even if they're just like off in the distance, like some with the force perspective. Some that you could have propped like maybe an Ikran on top of one of the floating mountains or just something.
Yeah, because it would be so much in a distance, even just hang him onto the side,
Yes,
of a floating rock. So that would have been
exactly.
so cool. I mean,
Yeah,
not
so
complaining, right? Just thinking like, wow, would be even more immersive if now that I'm thinking about it.
exactly. And then and for the time and everything, they did an amazing job. I mean, they come on, they did floating mountains and really made them look like they're floating. Like that's a
Yeah,
great visual. So even till this day, the park holds up visually, and Flight of Passage is still one of the most uh pretty much ridden rides at the park every day.
I think it
Um,
still is. Yeah, it's one of their main attractions.
so hey, they took a gamble on it and it worked out. But now for this one, like you said, we really got to see what maybe a further 10 years of Disney Imagineering would have done. And, what are they going to unleash on us this time? Like, please, like you said, creatures. They're in the concept art. You got Pandoran otters kind of chilling there.
Hmm.
You see the, what do you call them? The, like, almost like the seagulls of Pandora. They're kind of chilling on top of like some
Oh yeah,
some stuff in the concept art as well. So you do show life in these images. So I hope that also translates to the park. So we'll see this weekend, and it's gonna be exciting. Oh, we should announce we're gonna be able to. Everybody is gonna be able to live stream it live. So usually what happens is we're dependent on the social media people that are in attendance at these panels, like last year, to
yeah,
really give us their pictures of it and what did they say. But this is the first time they're actually going to stream to the world the Disney Experiences panel on Saturday. So they're not streaming the Disney Entertainment panel on Friday, which is the big movie and television show one, which is where we would get anything on obviously the Avatar movies. But at least we are going to get to stream the Disney Experiences, so they're going to touch on what's coming to all the different parks around the world. So if you're interested, tune in. It's going to be Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So kind of do your own, figure out what that is in your own local time. But if you want to tune in, they're allowing you this year to watch it live. Maybe they're really proud and really confident of what they're going to have bringing to the parks that they're
right.
like, you know what? The world needs to see this. We need to make a splash.
Yeah, well, I guess we're for sure gonna watch it. I mean, it's gonna be for like probably the middle of the night for me, but a reasonable time for you.
Yeah.
But it's Saturday going into Sunday. So I think that works even if you're in Europe. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm honestly like very excited. So we make sure we're gonna watch it and we're gonna maybe even as soon as we can touch on it in form of posts first and then we'll see from there. Hopefully they're gonna announce a bunch of stuff, at least for the parks for Avatar. Because I don't even think that they're either gonna confirm or deny the happening of the movies. For some reason I have a
Yeah.
feeling they're not gonna say anything about the movies.
Yeah, I really think it's too soon. That would probably be in another 2 years at, D23, what, 2028? I
Yeah,
think
when the
that's the
scheduled
one.
release would have been 2029, and then they're gonna be like, "Well."
Delayed. Yeah, exactly. That one really makes a lot more sense. And it could be closer depending on how long it takes to build what they are going to announce this weekend. That could also be closer to the opening of said land that is going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
shown off this weekend. So, as Avatar fans, we still have stuff to look forward to. And honestly, like you, I'm very excited. Like, yes, the movies are great, but also as equally great, isn't it going to be that you can have another physical location where you can just like be in the Avatar universe. Like right now, it's only in Florida. It's gonna be great that it expands to another location, and potentially, and who knows if this one's successful, maybe even Europe. Maybe Disneyland Paris can get a
I hope so,
an
because then it
Avatar
would be
land.
close to me finally. Because didn't also Joshua Izzo mention once, I think it's been a while, that they're seeing the crowds in Europe and that they're also going to cater to the people in Europe when it comes to Avatar.
Yeah,
So we'll see
so
what that's going to mean.
I think they're gonna gauge the reception to what they're gonna show this weekend, because obviously we're not blind to it. So many people are like, are not, they claim they're not into Avatar, and it's just a loud minority that is like, no, put something else there. So there is a section of of Disney park fans that claim they don't want it, but yet, as we just said, the one that does exist, the ride is one of the most popular rides, in the entire resort, that consists of four different lands. I mean,
Yeah.
four different parks. So it's got to be, whether you're not really a super fan of the movies, at least in terms of theme parks, theme park fans, they really like, Flight of Passage. So it really works for them. And hopefully this one does the same thing, and just kind of keep that ball rolling in the future and expand to Europe and other markets as well. But yeah, let's see what they have in store for us. I'm really excited to see what amazing innovations the Disney Imagineers have come up with for, and it's exciting that it's stuff from the sequels. Like the other
Yeah.
one is just from the first movie, and yeah, they teased some stuff that we didn't know at the time was for the sequels, but to know now that this is from the ground up with the sequels already in mind, 2 and 3, and teasing 4 and 5 stuff. So that's going to be super exciting.
And I think also looking back at the panel we attended, when we talked to Joshua Izzo and obviously asked him about the lands, and he was like, "Well, I can tell you, they're gonna kill me." But you just asked him if it's gonna be worth it to tune in, and he said definitely yes. So I guess we can expect like a lot of cool things.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it. You're excited for it. And hopefully you guys are as well. Like I said, tune in live if you guys have the opportunity. And we can kind of, at that moment when they're talking about Avatar, it's going to be a fun moment to be watching it. But also, if you're in the social media sphere of Avatar, it's going to be probably exciting. Everybody's going to be, posting the new art, the new confirmations of the things that they're revealing. So it's going to be an exciting day, that day on Saturday. So, but yeah, but another thing, we're gonna close off with this. Another thing coming up on the horizon is, and hopefully you guys participate, is Avatar Day. Is on August 21st. It was a thing that was started back, I believe, like a few years ago, a couple years ago. Um, I was part of it. Jeff, it pretty much kind of heads it now. You would also know him as Avatar Clan across Instagram and on X, and he kind of like spearheads it right now, along with some other people like James Cameron 101, I believe, right?
The podcast,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, they kind of spearhead it right now, and they're gonna try to make it a fun event every year, where on that day, submit to them your art, any kind of projects that you've made, and just participate and look to see what they post themselves, and just celebrate that day. The movies, the cast and the crew. We picked that day because originally back in 2009, they did have something called Avatar Day on August 21st of 2009, before the movie came out, and it was where they showed the movie for the first time to audiences for free, like 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. So it was like select scenes, just to really show them like what the possibility of this movie was. And they were blown away. I mean, it was seeing those scenes in 3D for the first time, and they were specifically in IMAX theaters, first come first serve for free. And so we kind of were like, you know what? Let's they already had a day called Avatar Day. Let's now just bring it forward and into the future. And now every August 21st, let's celebrate it just like they did that day back in 2009, when audiences got a taste of it, for the first time. So yeah, it's gonna be really fun, and hope you guys participate on that day. Post your fan art, anything you guys have, and anything you want to touch on Avatar Day yourself,
Well,
Marina.
I was thinking about it because I think I just made a post last year, just like a little edit of everything. But yeah, I would say it's important to keep it alive. And Jeff was asking, I think, around Instagram to motivate people to contribute, to post something, like whether it's art, crafts, whatever you have. If you want to sing a song, you can basically do anything. And I think, just celebrate the franchise we love, just let it live throughout the movies. And hopefully, maybe some things are going to reach some cast members or some production crew, and they will still know how much we love it and that we don't want to be without it. So, yeah, make sure to play your part in it.
Yeah, and if you want to contribute, Jeff is taking any art submissions, anything you've done, any like Marina said, any crafts, anything. You can DM him on Instagram at Avatar Clan, and get them in so that I believe he's gonna put something out on August 21st, kind of taking the different submissions that he's collected up until then. But we're gonna sign off. Marina and I will sign off now. But we do have a special message that Jeff has sent us that he wanted to share with us and with everybody. So we're gonna pass it on to him here at the end of the video. But that is it from us. And until our next episode of Beyond Pandora, enjoy this message from Jeff.
Hi Jerry, how are you? Jeff from Avatar Clan here. Thanks for asking me to come on the podcast. I'm sorry that we couldn't make the live stream work out, but I'm away on work at the moment and our timings didn't align. So you asked me a couple of questions. What did I think about the recent quotes floating around from James Cameron talking about the future of Avatar and his future work as well? I am torn. I want to see Jim do some work that excites him. I want to see, Ghost of Hiroshima, maybe The Devils come to screen. But if I'm absolutely honest, I really want him to carry on the Avatar saga. If they were to do 4 and 5, but he didn't direct, I of course would still be really excited for the films. I would love to have them, but they just wouldn't be quite the same without his involvement. So I'm hoping he's going to figure out a way to be able to do the other things that he wants and bring the other 2 films to screen as well. You mentioned D23, which is coming up this weekend. What do I think we might hear from that? Well, I'm really hoping we get confirmation of 4 and 5 and confirmation of Jim directing, but I think we will certainly get more information about the new land that's being built in California at Disneyland, and also it'd be great if there was some information about the rumoured expansion to Paris Disney as well, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And I'd also really like them to announce another comic series as well to follow up from the gap here. And then also Avatar Day we wanted to talk about. So this is an online event. This is the 3rd year of running it. It's primarily taking place over on Instagram this year. It's a fan-led celebration involving myself. I'm Avatar Clan on Instagram. You can find me under that on there. Eddie from James Cameron 101 podcast is involved. Avatar Guy, World of Avatar merch, and a whole load of other people who are getting involved to submit fan art, cosplays. We've got Frontiers of Pandora events happening, we've got special fan art, we've got podcasts coming out, and it's really just a day to kind of all try and get together, celebrate the films that we love, the cast and crew that we love, and this fantastic fandom as well. So anyone watching, if you're interested, it'd be great to have you involved. Find me on Instagram, drop me a DM, and we can have a chat about things. So thanks for having me on, and I will see you soon.